Hello, everyone. Thank you for following me here on Monday. For the past 2 weeks, I've been teaching my biotuning practitioners workshop, which is an intensive thing. We go, all day long, 8 hours, and then people watch this training video at the end, and we do that for 3 weeks. This last weekend was the second Saturday and Sunday, so I'm a little weary. And next week it's just the Saturday. That's the last of 5 days. And then Sunday will be us returning back to normal to Sunday. Here is where you go to get the soundtrack from today. For people who are new, we use headphones. There's a soundtrack at the end that we all listen to together with headphones, which link all of our brainwaves together exactly through brain entrainment and binaural beats and 3D movement of sound. And concept behind there is a global mind link. If you now we have the ability to scientifically align consciousness precisely and exactly together into exactly the same state. And there's power in numbers. There's scientific power in numbers. The whole idea of the 100th monkey thing, where you get a critical number of people thinking the same thing or aligning consciousness to the same idea, that idea pops into existence, which is essentially what this is. This is us all in a consensus deciding that this is what reality looks like. Mostly because we are not aligned with the deep part of ourselves. We're not in control. We're distracted and we're being, bobbed around in the ocean like a cork by random events in the universe that we respond to. And all of us are having this happen to us, and our response collectively is to create the world that we now have. If we wanted to take control of our world or control of our own life, then you have to first of all go into yourself and find, what kind of a life do you want? What is it that you would like to have an experience? What is it that you need out of an experience of life that is not what you have? And ultimately, small mind is too small to understand what that could be. You can only get a glimpse of a shadow of it. You have to let this part go and this part open and align itself with the flow of the universe and allow the universe to flow through you, and then it reveals the most perfect experience that you are here for. The test of the ages is to find that place in yourself and open yourself up to it and make this and align yourself in the dance and flow with that dance moment by moment. Here is where you can go to make comments, or if you have questions about anything that we cover. This is broadcast number 93, so we've covered a lot. If you can dream up some question that we haven't discussed, then I'd be happy to entertain that. I don't guarantee the right answer, but it will sure sound good. scientificsounds.com/ask-a-question. This is where you can go to find all the live streams, all 93 of them up to this point. And there's quite a reference now. If you go to this page and you scroll down to look at the titles of each one, there's all kinds of different things that we've covered there. Not too long ago, we covered laughter and happiness. So if you're in need of a good laugh, watch that one. I'm a great one for being tapped into dozens of different international news feeds. I keep a tight pulse on what's going on in the world. My interest is what this broadcast is about. New. What's new? And The the uh, the broadcast streams that I'm part of are cosmology and quantum physics and holistic health and newest discoveries in science and medicine. That's pretty much where I'm at. I belong to a whole series of different groups as well. There's a lot happening. And when you're tapped into the system this way, you can see the ripples of where change begins to go into high tide. And that door opened 2 years ago when this pandemic opened up. There was a lot of crazy things going on in politics in the United States and in the world. And then the pandemic hits and sort of somebody stuck a stick into the hornet's nest, and all kinds of things started happening. And all of us in the world were sort of put in a timeout by the universe. Go sit in the corner by yourself and don't interact with anybody, and we're closing your business down, by the way, and you have to figure out how you're going to make a living now by sitting at home. And so everybody started reinventing themselves online, me included. But the whole world locked away, contemplating your navel, that's a huge one. That's big. That's where you really start to straighten out in your brain and in your heart what's important in life, where do things align. A big reset, huge. It's all part of a big, time now in the universe. Things are awakening. We're reaching a bridge point where it's not so much an option anymore whether it would be nice to wake up or stay asleep. If we don't wake up, we die. The world is at that point now where we've futzed around and screwed around, and sort of the dark forces have sort of stolen the world and have locked it down in a way that it can't be assailed by normal means in the physical world. And so when I started these live streams 2 years ago, 1 month after the world closed down, my purpose was to step forward to be of service as an expert in stress. And the world was under a very stressful time, and there was a global pandemic, and people in stress, it compromises your immune system, among other things. But you don't want to be in the middle of a pandemic with a compromised immune system because you're under a lot of stress. So I was stepping forward to create an environment of non-stress and to start a dialogue of eyes open and to see through the metaphor of what this is all about, so it doesn't seem to be so fearful. It's all part of a bigger story that's going on that is a good story of waking up, of a larger and larger consensus of the collective unconscious rising up and looking at this world in a different way and realizing that there is great power in numbers, power of consciousness aligning together that can change things at its quantum root, sort of aligning towards a spontaneous remission of the human species patient, which is extremely ill and perhaps a bit psychotic. Anyway, these live streams were the result of that, and the live streams quickly morphed into something else. Something that I have been dwelling on in my mind for a long time, which was the concept, there is an ancient concept of conscious people aligning themselves together in meditation to change reality. And now we have tools, scientific tools of medical monitoring systems that can look inside of our brain, look inside of our nervous system, look inside the system and see what's going on in high degree moments of high level consciousness, high levels of meditation, high levels of creativity and activity and new ideas and solving grander problems than we thought we could solve, because we go to access a place in ourselves where all questions and answers align. So those tools are brain entrainment and binaural beats and headphones and mind linking in a way that has never been possible in humanity before. And nobody else seems to be doing it, so I get elected. It's a responsibility. It's all part of a t-shirt. It sucks to wake up. Waking up means you see what's here, and you can't deny it anymore, and you can't look away from it anymore. Where the world is going and where the world is at needs to change. And it can indeed change. We can change it. And when you wake up to that, you can't deny that. And and part of that waking up is to see what your part of it is. And once you see what your part of it is, you can't turn away from the responsibility of that. You can't be asleep to it anymore. Stepping forward into that role becomes the great adventure of your life. And as soon as you do that, you magnetize the universe, and all kinds of things start to happen, and people begin to show up. One thing I've said before is that there is no idea that can drop into your mind that the universe hasn't already supplied you with all the tools you need to accomplish it. Otherwise, that would be cruelty. All things align this way. Anything that you can conceive that you need or want to have your life to be, which is not right now, you already know every single person that you need to know to accomplish that. And you have all the tools strewn at your feet that you need to accomplish that. You don't need anything else. It's all here. You know everyone you need to know. And when you step into that role, the universe dishes it forward to you. You might be stumbling over the tools because you're not looking at the right place. You're not looking down. You're stumbling over the tools as you are on the search for those very tools that you're stumbling over. But this is where the serendipities show up and the synchronicities start to align, and amazing people just start to show up in your life from nowhere. People, and then you say, well, I kind of know that person. Yeah, that's right. But all of a sudden, here they are. And then it's like, that's what's happening to me. I mean, this person shows up, this person shows up, this one shows up. It's like, oh my God, my head is spinning. And it forces me to align myself with, because essentially these people are showing up and say, how can I help? And you're going, and what do you need? And you're going, wow, now I really am in it. I have to really flesh out. What is it? God says you can have anything you want. All I have to do is ask for it without words, before a thought, in the present moment now. And you're going, well, that's all nice and good, but how do I get there? How am I supposed to get to that spot in myself where the power is? And that is what sound has been used for in every culture since the beginning of time. Sound has always been used as a mechanism, as an aid, as a training wheel to awaken consciousness and deepen my experience. It's the high-tech device that can align me into a deepest state of meditation, consciousness, expansion, or whatever you want to call it. The first monk that came out from behind a monastery with a Tibetan bowl. That Tibetan bowl was like a high-tech quantum computer. It was, for that period of time, it was a super high-tech device, because when you rubbed that bowl, wham, something happened to you that teleported you into a state of consciousness that usually takes years to achieve through practice, where nobody can tell you what to do, and you struggle and struggle and try to figure it out. And this sound thing cuts through all of that, cuts through all of the thought forms, all of the ideas, all the philosophies, and puts you, bang, in this place. And now it's your job to allow yourself to open and flow into that state that it's providing. It's essentially what the idea with the headphones is every day here. Just be aware that, I give this soundtrack away for free at the end, and you can download it, but make sure you download it within that week where it's available, because the next broadcast we replace it with the new one, so it's no longer available after that point. So all of you who have been following me from the start at this point now have 92 soundtracks, and you're about to get another one today for free. That is a gift to you. Nobody else has it or has access to it. You have to be here and participate. So that being said, when you go to this website and you see all the ones that I've done up to this point, and if you're new or if you haven't been here the whole time, you should go back and take a look at what's there. I mean, there is a whole series, 3-part series, 3 different broadcasts on esoteric anatomy, 1, 2, and 3. And in that is all the new discoveries that of new organs and new compartments of the brain and new this and new that. It's amazing stuff. And it doesn't stop. There's more today. I did a 3-part series on the chakras from a scientific standpoint, from how we were researching them at the California Institute for Human Science, how we're figuring out how to use scientific instrumentation to measure chakra fields with a certain level of success. It's pretty sort of mind-blowing story. Chakras 1, 2, and 3. One whole broadcast was devoted to the crown chakra. This workshop that I'm teaching now, the biotuning practitioners workshop, the people who are spending the time and the energy and the money to completely transform their lives by buying a lot of equipment and computers that is a high-tech Star Trek version of sound therapy. It's really not sound therapy, it's vibrational therapy. And if you're interested to see what that is, then there's a broadcast. It was called Biotuning the Voice and Your Indigenous Self. So scroll down until you see that one. It's a concise explanation of what that biotuning system is all about. Scientific monitoring systems that look inside your nervous system, and sound frequencies that are very exact, accurate to a few decimal points, that can affect the functioning of the master control system in the center of your brain, the hypothalamus, the autonomic nervous system. So today is going to be another one of those you don't know what the heck is going to happen days. It's a laughing Buddha day. It's going to be interesting and strange, but the bottom line of it is, how do I get access to the deepest part of my consciousness and flow? I talk about the fact that I have all of these news feeds that I'm tapping into, and this concept of the news. It took me a while. One time I had this kind of funny revelation about the news. I realized that you tune into the evening news, and there's somebody there who's presenting you with all the new things that have happened. There's this new, and then there's this new, and this new, and this new, and you have a bunch of different new things together. Then the plural form of new is news. So it doesn't sound like much, but to me it was like a revelation. It's like, oh, that's what news means. News is a bunch of new. A bunch of new news. A bunch of new is news. So I guess perhaps if If I was going to start a sort of a spiritual news channel, we might call it, instead of new, it'd be now, because now is always new, Now, we'd call it the evening nows, I'd probably spice it up. I put a Z on the end of it. Nows. Yeah, maybe I should make a t-shirt out of that one, right? Nows. Nobody would know what the heck they're talking about, except you and me. We did that once before, where I had a t-shirt that was going to have a picture of a paperclip on it. Paperclip consciousness. You'll have to go back and you'll have to search through all 93 episodes to find out the esoteric secrets of the t-shirt with the paperclip floating on a still pool of water and held up by surface tension of H2O, to understand what I meant by paperclip consciousness. It's a task. It's like finding Waldo. Anyway, the concept of news being something that's new, and the ultimate thing that is new is, now. Now is always new. It's eternally new. And when we string a now and a now and a now and a now, a new now and a new now and a new now, or news nows, we get a movie. Single frames of now strung together creates nows. It creates a movie that's this, except it's a hyperdimensional movie, and the pixel depth is the Planck length, which is so small that you can't see through it. The frame rate is infinitely fast, so that you can't see through this movie by trying to pick it apart. That's essentially what they're doing with all these, atom smashers, trying to figure out what everything is made of. Where, my body is made of cells, and the cells are made of chemical compounds, and those are made of atoms, and atoms are made of component parts, and how we find those component parts is by smashing the atoms together like Neanderthals with sledgehammers. Taking a unbelievably finely tooled Swiss watch and smashing with a sledgehammer and counting the pieces that come out and putting names on them, but atoms are made of protons, electrons, and neutrons, and we smash those apart, and we've got smaller pieces, and we smash those apart in smaller pieces. Pretty soon, the smallest piece, you smash it open, nothing's inside. Energy, pattern, relationships, forming standing waves. Standing waves seem to be solid, but they're not. It's like the dancing sand particles on the metal plate that form patterns. You look at the dancing, look at those lines that are forming. You look close enough, it's not a line at all. It's just dancing sand particles in a region. That's a standing wave. You nest the standing waves together mathematically. The math of how they stack together perfectly so they fit together is the math of music theory. That's harmonics and overtones. That's octaves, harmonics, and overtones. That's the grand piano behind me. A representation of the foundation of all the laws that make the universe what it is, from the quantum field out. It's just a matter of, an illusion created by relativity of size. We're talking about infinitesimally small, infinite number of standing wave patterns nested together and stacked on top of each other. And the further you zoom back, the more they look like, quarks and charms and hadrons and leptons coalesce together into protons and electrons, and those coalesce together into compounds, which coalesce together into cells, and coalesce together into me, or you, or this. All of it, vibrational standing waves. All of it, an illusion. Moment by moment by moment, new illusion, new illusion, new illusion, new illusion, created by us. Consensus vote. A grand collective unconscious mind who's deciding what the next moment will be. And as I've said before, when I begin to dwell on creating a picture, an emotional charged visualization of what I want this world to be other than what it is, or my life to be other than what it is, I become a positive force in the universe, because it's a big yin-yang thing, right? If I'm not the active force, then the universe is the active force, and I'm the cork in the ocean, responding to the things that happen to me for my whole life. That's what Gurdjieff in the 20s came over from the East with all these secrets, and he talked about the fact that people are asleep. At one talk, somebody asked him, how do you wake up? What's the best way of doing that? What's the tools? How do you do that? And he said the first thing that you have to do to wake up is to realize that you're asleep, because you don't realize you're asleep. You don't know it. You think all of this is regular, you think you're awake, but no, that waking consciousness in your mind is not awakening, which is here, before a thought, in the present moment, where I am highly aware of my consciousness, of my aliveness, of here, synchronized up with the moment, me, here, washing a dish, opening a door, talking to you. You and me, right now, this very second, is a perfect opportunity to wake up, right now, this second, right now. You looking at your computer screen, sitting in your chair, looking at me on the screen, all of this is a big illusion. You can align yourself at this very moment here, with your breath, here, see yourself sitting here, see yourself looking out of your own eyes. Know that you are here in the equation. It's not just processing experiences coming at you. It's you spinning that around, curlicuing it back into yourself, and realizing that you are here experiencing this out through your senses. Nature of reality is constantly in flux, and it's always new. Every moment is a new moment. No two are the same. Which is where that saying comes from, you can never step into the same stream twice, because it's a new stream, right? New water has passed by. When you step your foot in the water, that water's already gone, it's moving. New water is arriving. And not only that, but the next time you step into the water, you're different, and the water is different. So you can never step into the same stream twice. Every 7 years, every single bone cell in your body has been replaced with a new one. So you don't even have the same skeletal system anymore after 7 years. And every single tissue in your body is the same way, except it's not 7 years, it's 7 minutes, it's 7 seconds, it's 7 fractions of a second. Cells are dying and being reborn to replace you all over your body every instant of every moment of the day. It's even what appears to be here is an illusion. This is all being rebuilt. It's structurally being torn down and replaced. So it is not the same body that steps into the river. And the water has already moved past. This is new water. And these are new cells. And this is a new body that's stepping into the water. It's amorphous. It's like shades of clouds forming in the sky that look like mountains, but it's water vapor, And in my news feeds, there's all kinds of new stuff happening. Here we are with, still the structure of gravity. What the heck is gravity, And now we have new theories of quantum gravity. I did a whole broadcast on quantum gravity and the different conundrums of gravity, the three grand forces of the universe and gravity, according to Einstein and relativity and all that stuff, the strong and the weak force and electromagnetism and gravity. Those are the four grand forces that we know of. The electromagnetism, which is what all of us learned in school, in high school physics, was that everything in the universe is made of electromagnetic stuff. Photons, speed of light, equals mc squared. The electromagnetic spectrum from the lowest vibrational frequencies up to the highest cosmic rays and gamma rays, and down here is radio and television and X-rays and light and color. That's the electromagnetic spectrum. What they didn't teach us is that's not true. Electromagnetism is one half of the yin-yang that makes everything. The other half is sound. Sound is not on the electromagnetic spectrum, and it's the only thing that's not in the universe. Sound is pure energy, and it has force, and it's moving through a medium at a certain frequency. And when that frequency is between 20 and 20,000 hertz, we've got this mechanism that picks it up and calls it sound. But when it's outside of that range, we don't have a word for it anymore. It's sort of like it's not sound anymore, but the sound part of it isn't sound either. I mean, we strip the word away that we put to things, and there's something there that is powerful, that's pure energy moving through a medium of air molecules that has a certain frequency of vibration, and when the vibration is between 20 and 20,000 hertz, we invented a way to pick that up and interpret it. But when it's below 20 hertz, we feel it. We've got a different mechanism, the vibrational sense network in my body, that activates the posterior spinal cord into neurons in my brainstem and is processed in various different centers in my brain than the temporal lobe that processes hearing. But this vibrational sense network has also got its range, 0.3 hertz to 500 hertz. So it's not called sound anymore. It's vibration sense. But when it's outside of that range, when it goes below 0.3 hertz, it's still there. There's still something. There's still that primal energy force that's pure energy at a slower vibrational frequency that we didn't put a name on it. Doesn't mean it's not there. And the same thing above 20,000 hertz. That same force is there. 21,000, 22,000, 210,000, 210 million. It's a pure energy moving through a medium. Sound travels through water 5 times better than air, travels through a solid 5 times better than water, and even when it's outside of the sound range, it still does that. And when it gets extremely slow, where now the wave ripple of the whatever that thing is that we call sound in this range, whatever that thing is, the ripples are, hundreds of thousands of light years peak to peak, and the speed is so slow that we can't perceive the speed. It's hundreds of millions of years. And what do they call that? They call it gravity waves. That is what that is. So that's the reason why they can't coalesce the fourth grand force, gravity, with the other three. It's always been the conundrum. Gravity doesn't fit. The math that describes the universe from the 3 grand forces, electromagnetism and the strong and the weak force. The strong force is what holds the atom together, and the weak force is what causes nuclear decay. But that world is over here, electromagnet, and over here is this fourth force of gravity, which doesn't seem to fit because it's not electromagnetic. It's this other thing that doesn't have a word. Except when it's between 20 and 20,000 hertz, we do have a word called sound, but it's inappropriate to call it sound when it goes outside of those ranges. We don't have a good word for it. I did a whole broadcast on the quantum physics of whatever that is. They call it phonons, as photon is the smallest particle of the electromagnetic scale, light. Phonon is the smallest quantum particle of sound, or the underlying principle of pure energy moving through a medium at a certain frequency. That sound is a little name we put for a certain segment of that. The phononic universe. I did a series of broadcasts on that. Phonons. So this phenomenon of gravity and the fact that I'm plastered against the Earth because my body's trying to fall to the center of the Earth, and the Earth is traveling through space and spinning, and it's going somewhere too. It's trying to get somewhere. It's trying to fall to the center of the galaxy because the center of the galaxy's got a giant black hole. And the galaxy itself is in motion. It's orbiting around a larger black hole, and that's orbiting around a larger one, and that's orbiting around a larger one. And therefore we have torque and spin. Things are spiraling down as they fall to these points of falling. And what are the points of falling if they're not in the electromagnetic universe? It's gravity is phase cancellation of massive waves in the universe that we call gravity waves. Those gravity waves are like, you drop a pebble in a still pool of water, except it's universally large, and the pebble is infinitely large, dropping into an infinitely large pool of water, creating an infinitely large ripple at infinitely slow time, and the whole universe is floating on top of that. Galaxies and nebulas are bent as they ride these giant and infinitely large waves. But it's not just one pebble. It's an infinite number of pebbles and an infinite number of ripple patterns. All of those are interacting with each other and creating crossover ripples. And those crossover ripples are either summating and creating a sun, or they're phase canceling and creating a black hole, a point of falling. Everything's falling somewhere. And all of it has spin. And this is close to this new alternative to string theory, which starts to open up a new view of what quantum gravity might be. Remember, from the standpoint of the Vedas, which align very closely to the quantum physics idea about the nature of reality at the core of the quantum field, this what we're talking about here, where we break the smallest particle open and there's nothing inside except energy pattern relationships forming a standing wave. What are those standing waves made of? It's invisible. We can't measure it. We call it black, dark matter. But you read the Vedas, it's called consciousness itself is what's rippling. Consciousness itself forms the massive field. Standing waves are ideas, an infinite number of ideas nested together that forms this. This is the idea that's being expressed. And since the core of consciousness in the depths of the quantum field is not something other than you and me, at the core of my consciousness, I am that. That is me. Me with a capital M, and it's all of us. The collective unconscious mind is what this field of consciousness is, because it's an illusion that I'm me and you're you. We're one thing. We have an idea that I'm me and you're you, but that's an illusion. That's a mistake. It's not true. You dig deep enough into your personal consciousness, you break through into a collective unconscious mind that's shared by all of us. We are not strangers. We're deeper than brothers and sisters. We're parent and child at the same time. Just more and more stuff happening here. Look at this one. This is the latest stuff that's just come through a news feed. Massive structures that link the galaxies together have started spinning, leaving experts baffled. These massive, incredible structures in the universe, hundreds of millions of light years long, they're highways that all of these little light spots, these are galaxies that align themselves along, universal highways. And when you look at the structure of this web that forms, it looks exactly the same as the connectome in the brain. How the brain neurons are wired together forms network patterns that look exactly like the galactic patterns, same business. We're seeing the universal mind, the structure of the universal mind. And this idea of spin, of course it's spinning. Everything is spinning. Everything is moving. Everything is exhibiting energy, following paths of least resistance, falling towards a common center. They're called galactic filaments, by the way. The galactic filaments of the large-scale structure of the universe stretch for hundreds of millions of light years and, as it turns out, rotate, dragging all of their galaxies into motion along with them. Essentially, that's what's happening inside my own brain, my own mind. Ideas are energy in motion. Here's another latest, a new particle, the X particle, from the dawn of time, detected inside the Large Hadron Collider. The mysterious particle will reveal insights into the earliest moments of the universe. They've been looking for this fifth force of nature now for decades. These X particles, they're claiming, may be the thing. The Higgs boson was supposedly it when they uncovered that with the last big atom smashing event from the Hadron Collider. The Higgs boson, the God particle, you know. It didn't turn out to be all it was cracked up to be, but, you know, there was people that were thinking, you know, you can't start, once you get to a certain threshold of smashing things, you have the possibility of creating a tear in the continuum. I mean, creating a laboratory-grown rip in the time-dimensional fabric of reality itself, creating sort of a black hole where the entire universe would get sucked down this black hole. So perhaps we shouldn't be screwing around with these forces until we understand them a little bit better, you know, sort of my idea of what happened with Atlantis, right? Sometimes I think I was probably one of those crazy scientists screwing around with grand universal forces we had no business playing with. You know, maybe just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something until you understand it better. We almost blew up the whole planet, but fortunately only sunk the continent, right? And now here we are again to do it correctly, right? Hopefully we learn that lesson. But the grandest and most mind-boggling discoveries of all is what happens here, what happens inside our own brain, inside our own consciousness. That's where the real discovery is. And that's where the answers are to all the other questions, all of these questions, all of these explorations. The answer is here, in this thing, inside here. And indeed, when I monitor my news feeds, or my nows feeds, the esoteric news is nows. It just is a constant stream of new, of just mind-boggling stuff about the nature of reality. Like some of the latest ones that have just come through is understanding the true nature of how the brain processes music and how its processing of music shows how it processes everything, anything, everything. Because music, by the way, is the mathematics of the creation of the universe. So how the brain processes music and processes harmonics and overtones and the mathematical relationships between vibrational frequencies is how it observes the world. How that's what the world is made of, is those mathematical relationships. So analyzing how the brain processes music and how that touches my emotions is the secret of how the universe itself is created by the mind, big mind. Look at this, neuroscience. The brain is a prediction machine, and music reveals how it works. The brain is constantly anticipating what the next note is going to be. And it's anticipating that because it rejoices and is delighted by a feedback system that feeds back into it the obvious rules that the universe is based on. The mathematical rules the universe is based on is best summed up in the relationship between different notes in music and chords. Those relationships of standing waves nested together properly according to the math of harmonics and overtones of music theory is exactly what makes the universe. You know, it's why when I'm using sound as a composer and as a physician, as a scientist, when I'm trying to use music and sound and brain entrainment and 3D and all the rest of the stuff I'm up to change consciousness, to bring your consciousness to a place of now, where all this goes away and I get closer and closer to the present moment, to the place of my power, using sound to do that. One thing that I had, that I realized early on is that in order to get the brain disengaged from the ordinary and into a place where it doesn't know what's going to come next, you have to dismantle all the rules of music that the brain is used to, that it's anticipating where the next note is going to be, where the next chord arrangement is going to be, because it knows very well the rules of music that our culture currently is using to make music. Certain chord progressions, and there's an A part and a B part and a chorus and a B part and a musical conclusion. As long as that is part of the music that you're using to try to change consciousness, you're going to fail, because the brain is constantly being engaged this way. It's trying to predict where the music is going, so it can prove itself right, so it can anticipate. Actually, a survival technique. The brain is constantly engaged in trying to anticipate where things are going, so I can survive. But when it's appreciating music, it's doing the same knee-jerk mechanism. I'm predicting, oh, you know what? What's coming next is the B part. I bet you anything. And sure enough, when it shows up, hey, see, I'm right, yay. And oh, I bet you what's coming next is the chorus part. And bang, when it shows up, yay, I'm right. I'm engaged. I'm not disengaging my mind from my ordinary. I'm actually hyper-engaging it. So I got to break all those musical rules. That's what I called, what I did was non-linear music. Music that is not obeying any musical rule you've ever heard of. So now it's sort of a musical sound space. It's beatific music and chords, and they're drifting and they're moving in 3D and all kinds of things are happening. But that music is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere that's predictable. That means what? It means that now it's me floating with no rules. And if I can get you to be in that place, then I can change your brainwaves, your state of consciousness, because you're in my world, and I control the rules of this world. And the rules of this world is to bring you here now. No place else, no place you're anticipating. Here, now. That's what the music's purpose is doing. So when you listen to the soundtrack today, pay attention to that idea and realize that, oh, that's right. Yeah, what he said is true. This music is not going anywhere that I expect. I don't know where it's going next. It doesn't follow the rules that I expect. That's why it's transformative. So we specifically were disengaging the prediction machine of the brain by presenting it with a new, now experience of music going nowhere but here. This is the latest discoveries in neuroscience. This has just shown up, brand new. Neuroscientists uncover a sensory gateway in the brain. So once again, they've discovered a new structure, not a new structure, but a new purpose and activity in a structure they already thought they knew what it did. Now they discover it does something way, way more than that. How does the unconscious become conscious? Look at this. This is where the unconscious mind and the conscious mind link together in a physical structure in your brain. At any given moment, your brain notes millions of observations. The music in your headphones, the temperature of your water as you sip it, the proximity of a stranger next to you in the subway. If you noticed every single thing the brain picks up on, you'd be overwhelmed in seconds. So why aren't we? What's filtering the good information from the unnecessary information? It's this structure. This structure right here. It's called the insula. And it's got an anterior and a posterior lobe, which do different things. But this structure is the conduit between the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, which means it's highly active in these extremely high states of meditation, where my conscious experience links to my grand unconscious big mind. The discovery in a study published earlier this year in the Journal of Cell Reports, neuroscientists reveal the location of the brain's consciousness filter, a region the paper's author called a gateway to consciousness. The findings reveal a gateway in the cortex where sensory information has to pass through in order to reach its destination, my conscious access. Amazing. It's called the insula. That's this, the insula, anterior posterior lobes of the insula. Insula is tucked away inside a prominent fissure of the brain called the lateral sulcus. If you remember, when I described, and I just happen to have these brains here, these are expensive medical level models. The sulcus is the noodle. I'm sorry, the gyrus is the noodle, and the sulcus is the grooves between noodles. And then there are giant fissures that run through the brain, like the major sagittal fissure. And there's a coronal fissure that goes this way. And then here there's another fissure that runs right here, Sylvian fissure. And inside that Sylvian fissure is the insula. So you can see they have to pull this temporal lobe portion and the parietal lobe portion apart from each other to see the insula down inside there. Right, so because this is a cool brain, I can do that. Here it is. Whoops, well, let me get this correct. So here's the brain, and here's the Sylvian fissure, and we can pull that brain apart, and there it is, right there. That right there is the insula inside this Sylvian fissure, like this. So, once again, here's the brain, here's this Sylvian fissure here, and we're going to pull that Sylvian fissure apart, and down inside of it, right here, is the insula, this zone right here. So that's this, the gateway between the grand big mind and small mind in my brain, how they communicate to each other. It's the gateway to the magic zone, right? From my ordinary thinking processes and my rational thinking mind, my small mind, so to speak, and the biggest, grandest universal mind that's in the collective unconscious that taps right into the universal mind. The gateway is the insula. This has just been discovered. I mean, wow. The magic door, where I gain access into the biggest secrets of the universe. And how I get there is a certain state of consciousness represented by what happens in my brain, brain waves, what happens in my autonomic nervous system, heart rate variability. We monitor these systems and we see what it looks like when someone actively brings those two worlds together and the spark comes out and the doors open up. What does it look like? We know what it looks like. And we can use brainwave entrainment to align your brainwaves to exactly that pattern. It doesn't mean you're going to get enlightened, but we've stacked all the deck in our favor for a favorable outcome, and now we just exercise it in a gym. We've honed our technique. Instead of 30 years sitting on your butt meditating in a monastery to figure it out, we're using science to put you there. Bang. Nobody's got to try to explain to you what to do. This does it, brings you there. Wham. You just have to surrender to when you're there. You have to arrive here before time, in the present moment, simultaneous with the experience of being alive. Aligning with the moment, being in this special sort of Zen space. It's the chop wood, carry water space. It's me being here now, surrendering everything, all my expectations of what the next second's going to be, or memory of what the last second was, or worrying about anything in the future. That's where worry comes from. Projecting to the future, hypothetical events that may or may not happen. It's useless waste of energy. Here and now, I'm alive, and I'm doing something. I'm engaged in an activity. I'm breathing. There's a wind, there's a smell, there's a time of day. I'm washing a dish. I'm walking out to my mailbox. I'm opening the mailbox up. I'm looking inside. I'm reaching inside and grabbing some letters and pulling them out and closing the mailbox. And I'm taking one step after another back into my house. I can be there, right there with it. And there's something that is powerful and profound about being there with it. It's cosmic. It's enlightening. From an ordinary standpoint, in my ordinary mind, I might think, well, what's the purpose of that? It's like so boring. I mean, no, it's not boring at all. It's mind-blowing. It's the laughing Buddha. It's like, whoa, you're not prepared for what it is like. It's the most incredible experience you can have. It's where all the doors open up and all the secrets spill out. It's the meaning of all of it is here in this moment. Any moment you choose, it's here, right now. And it's as close as your next breath. It's before that. It's big, it's huge, it's universal, and it's right under your nose at any given moment. Don't dwell on the past or the future. Be here now. All the great sages and masters have said the same thing. Different words, same concept, same idea. Present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments, because there is only one moment. The rest is an illusion. It's an eternal moment. Our minds pick that moment apart into little slivers, like the frames in a movie. But time doesn't exist. It's all an illusion. All past and future events are folded into the present moment, Here we go again. This is brand new stuff. January 30th, 2022. Our brains keep us 15 seconds in the past to help us see a stable world. Our eyes are continually bombarded by an enormous amount of visual information, millions of shapes and colors and ever-changing motion all around us. For the brain, it's no easy feat. Your brain would be overwhelmed. So what the brain does is it does a sample set. It's taking the last 15 seconds and averaging it out, and then adding the next second and dropping the last one away, and adding the next second and dropping the last one away. It's moving through time with a 15-second window. It's kind of interesting. But I've sort of said this before. No matter how hard you try to think yourself into the present moment, you'll always be late, because it takes the brain a certain amount of time to fire the neuron of a thought. You'll never be here. You'll always be late. And if now is the only thing that really exists, who the hell am I then in my thinking mind, my rational thinking mind, who I identify myself as being me in my thinking mind? It's an illusion. It can't be real. It's forever missing the point. It's never going to arrive here now. It's never going to be here with what's real. And when push comes to shove, in a moment of meditation where I actually stand on the precipice of being able to align with the present moment, my small mind is going to come in and say, excuse me, I'm the one who had to get the job and make the money in order to afford the workshops and the seminars and buy the books and study all this stuff so that I could get to this moment. And now that we get here, I'm not going to get to go. If I don't get to go, nobody gets to go. It's a tantrum. And you have to make peace with your mind. You say, look, I will go to this timeless place and I will come back with so much cool information, and you'll get to have it all for free. You'll be able to chew on it from now till doomsday. I promise you'll be happy. That's what I have to do. I have to release that, let it go, because who I think I am and my normal thinking process of how I arrange my mind to grok things is not at all involved. When I have a true moment of enlightenment, it's so far beyond that. It's impossible to describe here. Impossible to describe here. It's beyond that. And it's impossible to describe here in my emotions. I don't have an emotion to describe it, what I experienced there. It's bigger than any emotion I've ever had. So I don't know whether it's joy or fear. I don't know whether it's trembling or awe. It's beyond all of that. It's not pleasant. It's not unpleasant. It's so far beyond that. It's a new thing, something so new that it's astounding. It's a state of wonder, but that's a small word too. It's God is a small word. It doesn't come near to describing what you experience here in the present moment, washing a dish or taking your next breath, or here's the insula, here's that gateway zone, the anterior, posterior lobes. All of it boils down to, the great masters. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. When you are born a lotus flower, be a beautiful lotus flower. Don't try to be a magnolia flower. If you crave acceptance and recognition and try to change yourself to fit what other people want you to be, you will suffer all your life. True happiness and true power lie in understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and having confidence in yourself, and being what you are. Period. No apologies. And being it now, here and now, this moment. This moment shining in glory, where everything glows, everything is filled with purpose and filled with all the answers you could ever have questions for, born out of the same place. The questions are born out of the same place that answers come from. It's the 1,000-mile journey, where I don't even have to lift my foot for that whole journey to take place, if the destination is here now. If my destination is here and now, the 1,000-mile journey begins and ends instantaneously before I ever lift my foot. Sort of like the sound of one hand clapping, right? So with that being said, arriving in a place before time begins in the deepest part of my own consciousness, here, now, is the greatest journey of all time for any living being. It's our task, our journey. It's what we're here for. And each of us has unique talents and understanding of how we have to get here now, because that path is unique and different for every single person. No person can tell you how to get there. They can only tell you how they got there, because the pathway is unique. The door is different for each person. It looks different. You have to use your talents and your creativity and your problem solving to get here now. But all you really have to do is relax and let it go. Here we go. And that's our task here. And that's what the soundtrack is all about. So relax and let yourself go. And here we go. Once again, that's where you can get the soundtrack. Just got this morning, before I started this broadcast. I ordered it a while ago. Sometimes I have an impulse buy in the moment that I have to do. It's a poster of our place, our local address, where we are, where we live, what this is all about. Check it out. And way down here is where we are, home, in the Orion spur of the Sagittarius arm, and our local cluster of star systems, just as a reminder of my true sort of place of where I am. Helps me. And I also got this beautiful thing that I just had ordered. This here is also beautiful. Look at this thing. Now, this thing has taken me months to finally get. And it's perfect for today because I can sort of, put it on, and that gives me a context for my laughing Buddha. Thank you all very much. And next week it will be Sunday again. And every Sunday at 12:30 is when I do these things. So 12:30 on Sundays, unless I'm teaching a workshop. That's the normal course of things. So you can go to this address to always to see these live streams. This address here. Just go to this address. You'll see it. It's listed on the right at the top, and it will have a countdown. If you click it, it'll fill your screen and have a little countdown timer that says when it's coming. Or you can watch it on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Dr. Jeffrey Thompson. Dr. Jeffrey Thompson. Thank you all very much. It's my joy and pleasure and my honor to be here with you. Thank you all very much for being here, and I'll see you next week.